Red Bull Racing CEO and team principal Christian Horner to exit the organization with immediate effect. Christian Horner, the central figure at the heart of one of the biggest teams in F1 for 20 years, a Red Bull no longer.
Christian Horner has announced that he will no longer continue as team principal of Red Bull. This shocking and sudden change marks the end of a chapter that began in 2005 when Red Bull first entered the sport. Over those 2 decades, Red Bull Racing, under Horner's management, grew from a mid-grid team to one of F1's most powerful giants, winning 14 world championships and 124 races in total, and now with his departure, a new era is about to begin. So, let's explore why this decision was made and what it really means for Red Bull's future. The replacement comes in the form of Laurent Mekies, the former head of Red Bull's sister team, Racing Bulls. Mekies will step into the massive shoes left behind by Horner, who was informed of his dismissal only after the 2025 British Grand Prix. Horner was then asked to deliver the news personally to the Red Bull staff at their Milton Keynes headquarters the next morning. This abrupt end came even though Horner survived multiple storms over the past few years, including a personal scandal that was cleared by an independent investigation more than a year ago. This decision is not the result of one single controversy, but the outcome of multiple compounding issues: declining team performance, serious internal divisions within Red Bull, allegations of power consolidation, high-profile staff departures, and the uncertain future of their top driver, Max Verstappen. These problems didn't emerge overnight. Instead, they've been gradually growing, especially in the aftermath of Red Bull co-founder Dietrich Mateschitz' death in late 2022, which left a vacuum in leadership and strategic vision. Despite clinching the 2023 World Championship with Verstappen, the 2024 and 2025 seasons have not lived up to Red Bull's previous standards. In fact, they've been marked by a visible drop in competitiveness. McLaren, the rising force in the grid, is gradually overtaking Red Bull as the benchmark team. As of August 2025, just after the British Grand Prix, Verstappen is only 3rd in the drivers' standings, trailing by 69 points. In the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull has slipped to 4th place, nowhere near their dominant past. This sharp drop in performance is a clear signal of the struggles behind the scenes. The situation is further complicated by the breakdown of relationships between Horner and key individuals associated with the Verstappen camp. Max's father, Jos Verstappen, has become one of Horner's most vocal critics. He openly warned during the 2024 season that Red Bull would crumble under Horner's reign. Since then, every controversy and team issue gave Jos new ammunition, reinforcing his campaign against Horner. His main concern was that Horner had centralized too much power without adequately focusing on performance. The tensions reached a boiling point amidst rumors that Max could leave for Mercedes, where team boss Toto Wolff has long admired Verstappen's talents and pursued him with public and private interest. It's important to note that while Verstappen has never openly demanded Horner's removal, he has shown little loyalty toward him in public. That silence becomes meaningful when you consider how involved Verstappen has been in raising concerns about various areas of the team, especially around driver lineups and car development paths. These off-track struggles have been just as damaging as the on-track lack of results. Verstappen's contract contains a clause that could allow him to walk away from the team if certain performance criteria aren't met. One of those is staying in the top 3 of the Drivers' Championship by the end of July 2025. As of now, Verstappen holds 3rd, but only just 18 points ahead of George Russell, who has outscored him by 19 points over the past 4 races. If Verstappen slips to 4th or worse, that escape clause becomes actionable, which could present a real danger to Red Bull's future as a top team. This contractual pressure likely played a role in making Horner's termination seem necessary now rather than later. Moreover, the structural issues within Red Bull Racing have been piling up for years. Since early 2023, numerous key personnel have left the team. High-profile exits include technical director Adrian Newey, who was often credited for Red Bull's leading car designs, Sporting Director Jonathan Wheatley and Chief Engineering Officer Rob Marshall have also departed. Strategy head Will Courtney will join McLaren in 2026. These are not just side players, they're the backbone of race strategy and car development. Losing such vital staff in a short period signals not just discontent, but a deep systematic issue. On top of this, rumors have swirled for months about disorganization and a lack of clarity at the racetrack. One senior Red Bull insider speaking after the British Grand Prix mentioned the presence of what they called a leadership vacuum within the garage and engineering departments. This is a serious situation, as race day coordination is where championships are won and lost. Adding to the internal instability, Horner's close associates have also been removed in this shakeup. Oliver Hughes, the group's chief marketing and commercial officer, and Paul Smith, director of communications, are both gone. These were Horner's own appointments and longtime allies. The parent company's decision to remove them suggests a deliberate effort to dismantle Horner's internal power structure. Essentially, Red Bull is undergoing a reset, removing key figures to restart with a new vision, likely aiming for less centralization and more collaborative management. Red Bull is facing a rare crisis with its second driver. Their handling of Sergio Perez and Liam Lawson has turned into a public disaster. In May 2024, Horner approved a new high-paying contract for Perez, only to terminate him by December. Lawson stepped in, but was demoted after just 2 races, reinstating the inconsistency and confusion that have plagued the team's second seat for years. This instability left Verstappen to carry the weight of the team on his own for much of the 2024 and 2025 seasons. Although Horner's direct involvement in all these failures is debatable, the fact remains, he was at the center of every major issue. Stepping back and looking at the Red Bull F1 team today, it's clear they're not just facing a rough patch, they're staring down a potential decline that could be hard to reverse. Red Bull's greatest successes came when their racing model was simple. Dietrich Mateschitz provided the money, then stayed out of the way while Horner and motorsport advisor Helmut Marko ran the show. That model worked wonders, delivering titles with Sebastian Vettel from 2010 to 2013, and again with Max Verstappen between 2021 and 2024. But after Mateschitz died in 2022, Red Bull has shifted into a more traditional corporate structure. That transition did not favor Horner, whose style relies heavily on autonomy and control. He began struggling to adapt as he faced accountability pressures from the broader Red Bull GmbH board and lost some of his long-held independence. With new management increasingly dissatisfied, it became harder for Horner to operate the way he once did. Adding to these pressures, Red Bull's massive ongoing project to build their own engine for 2026 is approaching a critical stage. Horner was a driving force behind this endeavor, a move to become an F1 engine manufacturer for the first time in the team's history. That's not just another department, it's a full-scale technical and financial commitment shaping the team's competitiveness in the next regulation era. With Horner gone, Red Bull must now accelerate preparations for this jump without the very man who envisioned the strategy. It's an extraordinarily risky moment for such a major leadership change. Introducing Laurent Mekies into this mix is not a random decision. Mekies is a highly experienced F1 operator. Before leading Racing Bulls, he was the second in command at Ferrari, learning about the harsh realities of high-pressure team environments. Under his quiet leadership, Racing Bulls have started to improve despite limited resources. Mekies is seen as professional, focused, and politically cautious. Character traits probably seen as essential after so many years of Horner's high-profile role in both team matters and F1 politics. That difference in leadership style might be exactly what Red Bull needs now. Where Horner was vocal, visible, and at the center of drama, Mekies is discreet, strategic, and data-driven. This could help restore team unity while removing distractions. It also might be a move toward convincing Verstappen and his father Jose that Red Bull is serious about turning the page and avoiding further talent loss. Despite all the chaos, it's important to mention how remarkable Horner's legacy is. He joined Red Bull when it bought Jaguar's failing F1 team in 2005 at the age of just 31. Under his leadership, the team became the most successful new team in modern Formula One history, rivaling franchises that have existed for over 50 years. Few people have shaped a team the way Horner did, from engineering philosophy to strategic direction to driver development and public relations. In many ways, Horner was Red Bull Racing. The controversy, the drama, and the wrong turns of recent years do not erase the empires Horner built, but they do show that even the strongest empires can collapse under pressure, especially in a sport as ruthless and fast-changing as Formula One. The biggest question now is whether Red Bull Racing can reinvent itself in time to avoid years of mediocrity, or worse, irrelevance. And it seems like Hamilton is also in some kind of emotional and professional crisis after what happened at the 2025 Hungarian Grand Prix. The man who once dominated Formula One with unmatched records is now struggling to even reach Q3 in qualifying sessions. It's not just about one bad weekend. Hungary was another chapter in what has become a frustrating and difficult debut season with Ferrari. In Hamilton's own words, calling himself useless and saying, "Ferrari might need a new driver," shocked not only fans, but the entire paddock. Hamilton's result at Hungaroring was particularly painful. This is a track where he has a rich history. He has won there 8 times, more than any other driver. He also has 9 pole positions at the circuit, but in 2025, he could only manage to qualify 12th and finish 12th in the race as well. While his teammates Charles Leclerc took pole position and later finished 4th, Hamilton was nowhere near the front runners. This gap is not just one race, it's a pattern. After 14 races, Hamilton has 0 podiums, while Leclerc is 5. In qualifying head-to-head, Leclerc leads 10-4, and in races, it's 11-2. These numbers paint a very clear picture of the internal battle Hamilton is losing within his own team. His best moment of the season came not in a full-length race, but during the sprint event in China, where he started from pole and won the sprint race. That remains his only victory, and it was in a non-standard format. In regular Grand Prix races, he has looked off-pace, often trapped in midfield, unable to move forward, and qualifying has been the biggest problem. If a driver starts too far back, even great race pace can't always help, especially on tracks where overtaking is hard. Hungary is one such circuit, and Hamilton's P12 starting position essentially destroyed his chances, even before the lights went out. What's worrying is not just his performance, but his mental state. While Hamilton has always been very honest in interviews and has shown vulnerability before, this time it felt different. Using the word useless on live TV, suggesting that Ferrari might need a new driver, these are not things a 7-time world champion usually says, especially one still under contract. It raised serious doubts about whether Hamilton is seriously thinking about cutting his Ferrari journey short. However, Hamilton did calm things down after the race, saying he's looking forward to the next races after the summer break. He said, "Hopefully I'll be back," which doesn't sound like someone immediately planning retirement, but still leaves a bit of doubt. Will he come back stronger after the break, or has his confidence truly been broken? The bigger concern is not 2025, it's 2026. That's the year when Formula One will change again. New cars, new engines, new rules. Some believe this reset could help Hamilton, especially if he hasn't adapted well to the current ground effect cars. These cars require a very specific driving style and setup approach. Even his former team Mercedes struggled with these rules since 2022, and now Ferrari seems to have similar issues. The SF25 doesn't look like a car that fits Hamilton's strengths. If the 2026 cars behave differently, there is hope he could shine again. Then comes the most powerful motivation of all, the 8th world title. Hamilton currently shares the record of 7 titles with Michael Schumacher. Many believe he should already have 8 if not for the controversial 2021 Abu Dhabi finale. That moment still haunts many Hamilton fans, and possibly Hamilton himself. His former Mercedes boss Toto Wolff even said that Hamilton has unfinished business. the dream of breaking that record could be the one reason that keeps Hamilton going. And that's all we have for today's episode. Now, before you leave, just don't forget to give this video a like, hit that subscribe button, and also ring that notification bell for more future updates.